On today's episode of Behind the Wire on Rebel Radio, we are going to be talking about Washington State's illegal income tax that they're about ready to pass and their possible way forward to making it legal for them to impose. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Behind the Wire on Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Robert Burwell. I'm also the president of the Washington 3%. As stated in the opening, Washington State is going to be passing the income tax. There's no doubt about it. It should happen tonight, maybe tomorrow, but it's coming. It'll probably be passed by the time you see this. Once it passes, the governor's going to sign it into law, and then lawsuits will be filed against this illegal tax to stop it. Now, as I stated in videos before, and I'm sure most of you already know, there are two reasons why this is an illegal tax. For starters, it's unconstitutional according to the Washington State Constitution. And this was affirmed in a 1919 Washington State Supreme Court decision that all taxes that are levied against the people of Washington State need to be equal, which means they can't charge varying rates of taxes, and they can't just tax certain people. It has to apply to everyone equally. Okay. Now we all know this, right? So the proposed millionaires tax is only taxing people who make $1 million or more, which violates the Washington State Constitution's requirement that all taxes be applied equally. So it's illegal by the state constitution and by the 1919 judgment by the Washington State Supreme Court. The second reason it's illegal is a few years back, our legislature passed a law saying that all state and local income taxes are illegal. Okay, now this is a law they passed. So that's the two reasons that it's illegal. But the Democrats know this. Okay, everybody knows it. The Democrats know it, and yet they're pushing forward. Why are they pushing forward if they know it's blatantly illegal? That's because they have a path forward of how they can get this thing legal and how they can make it apply to all of us. That's part of making it legal. Now, this is, my opinion of what they're going to do based on the laws that we have in the state and their possible path forward. Now, number one, looking at the law that was passed a few years ago stating that all state and local income taxes are illegal. That's easy enough to solve. They can easily just get rid of that law. Just takes a majority vote and they have the majority. So that's not a barrier at all. They'll just simply strike that law down to make their tax legal. Okay, and they're going to have to do it no matter what, because it is an income tax. So, they're planning on passing this. They know they're going to have to strike that law, and they have the votes to do it. Now, the other part, the other law, that's a problem. Okay, because it's in the state constitution. The only way to make it legal, as it's written, is to make it apply equally to everybody, or to change the state constitution. Now, to change the state constitution takes 2/3 majority vote in both houses. And while they hold all the power in Washington, they do not have the votes to do that. They do not have the votes, necessary votes, unless a bunch of Republicans side with them, They do not have the necessary votes to change the state constitution. They don't. So that path forward, blocked. The other path forward is pretty simple. Make it apply to everyone equally, right? But if they do that, they're going to cost themselves a lot of votes, right? If they themselves change it, they're going to cost themselves a lot of votes. They'll lose actual Democrats over that. So how are they going to do this and still remain in power? How are they going to make it legal by the state constitution but still stay in power? The lawsuits. That's how. Groups in Washington are going to sue them because it's illegal. And they know it's illegal, and they're counting on being sued. Because when they get sued, it'll go before the Washington State Supreme Court. Now, will the current Supreme Court go against the decision by the 1919 Supreme Court? I don't think so. They're pretty corrupt, but I don't think they'll do that. But what they are going to do, and I'm pretty sure this is their plan. I mean, that's the way I'd do it if I was them. They're going to do is they're going to go before state Supreme Court. They're being sued because it's unconstitutional, right? The state will put up some weak-ass argument, and they'll lose. State Supreme Court will rule it unconstitutional, which leaves them two options to fix the situation. First option is to give up on the state income tax for millionaires. They're not going to do that. They've already planned their budget for this money. So they are not going to do that. What's their other option? Well, if the Supreme Court tells them that they have to either strike down the law or they have to make it comply with the state constitution, they're going to make it comply with the state constitution. They're going to go before the people of Washington and say, you know, we wanted to tax those evil millionaires, but the state Supreme Court just overruled us and told us that we have to tax everybody. So it's not our fault, but now it applies to all of you. And that's how they're going to make it legal, because it will now be all they have to do is change it to say everybody gets a 9.9% tax. And it's a small change, and they can blame it on the Supreme Court and say, well, you know, we tried to fight it, but we lost, and your own people sued us and are making us do this. So they're going to be blaming not only the state Supreme Court for having to tax all of us, but they're going to blame the groups on the right that are suing them for being unconstitutional. It's going to be our fault because we're trying to stop an unconstitutional law, and they'll say, well, you know, we wouldn't have to tax everybody, but it's all those evil Republicans' fault. And now you're all going to have a 9.9% income tax. That's why they're pushing ahead. That's the only way they can make it legal, is to tax everybody and to get rid of the law saying no taxes. That's the only way they can make it legal. And I'm positive that's their plan going forward. That's going to be the script that they follow to make this thing legal. They want to tax us all anyways. They've said it. Their own people have said it, that it's going to apply to everybody. And that's their plan. Plan is to pass it, get sued, be ordered by the Supreme Court to bring it into compliance with the state constitution, blame the Republicans in the court for having to tax everybody. They still get their revenue. They get more than they planned on. And we're going to have a tax for the rest of our lives in this state. We're going to have an income tax. Like I keep telling you people, voting has consequences. So share this video to your friends and your neighbors, you know, and if you think I'm full of crap, just sit back and watch. We'll see if I'm right or not in the future. But that's the only legal way forward for them to make this tax stick, is to make it apply to everybody. And it saves face for them by letting it be taken to court so they can blame us and say, hey, it's the Republicans' fault. We were only going to tax millionaires, but it's their fault. Mark my words, that's their plan. As usual, like to tell everybody, if you want to know more about us at Washington 3%, know what we stand for, go to our website, www.wa3percent.org. You can also go to our charity, Boots on the Home Ground, which is bothg.org, and help support our charity, which supports local communities and veterans in Washington State. With that, that's all I got for this time, and see you next time on Behind the Wire. Good night.